Hi guys, Mr. Mackey here. Now, we've been doing percentages for the past 2 days, starting off with basic percentages and how those basic percentages can help us find more difficult ones. Now, I set you this challenge yesterday where I started with £160. I wish I still do. And I spent 43% on that. How much is 43%? How much do I have left after spending that 43%? And what is that as a percentage? So let's get cracking on with how to do this. So I want to find what 43% of £160 is. Well, the good thing about this is there's loads of different ways of finding 43%. We could do 10% at 10% at 10% at 10%, and that's a bit too long. We could do 25% at 10% at 5%, that's a bit too long as well. The method I like to use is I like to find 50%, and then I take away 7% from that. But how do I find 7% of that with the basic percentages? Well, we could take away 5%, then take away 1%, then take away 1% again. I'm sorry, I don't have enough space. Because 50%, take away 5%, take away 1%, take away 1% again, will get us 43%. But we don't know what 50% is, but we don't know what 5% is, and we don't know what 1% is. But we can find out because we know how to find our basic percentages. So 50% is just half of 100%. So what is 160 halved? It is £80. So let's write £80 on here just so we remember it. So I've written £80 on here. That's 50%. Now we can find our 5%. So do you remember how to find 5%? We find 10%, which is 16, and we halve that. Because remember, 10% is you divide that by 10. So what's half of 16? £8. So it's 80 minus 8. Because now we found our 5%. Now how do we find 1%? Well, we divide our 100% by 100. So we divide 160 by 100. That will get us £1.60. So you take that away here. And then you take it away again, because we're taking away 1% twice. Now we can solve this. So we do 80 minus 8 minus 1.6 minus 1.6. So what's 80 minus 8? That will be 72. What's 72 minus 1.6? That's 70.4. And what's 70.4 minus 106 minus 1.6? I'm even losing my words here. What's 70.4 minus 1.6? That will be 68.8. But we still want to write that as how much, because it's a problem with money. That would be £68.80. So now that we've done question 1, how much was 43%, £68.80, we can do question 2. How much do I have left after I spent it? Well, this we only need to do a bit of simple subtraction. So we start off with 160 and we're taking away £68.80. So let's line up some nice digits to make it look neater. £68.80. And now we can do our subtraction. Now, I have done a lot of subtraction in the past with subtracting decimals and fractions, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. The answer to this question is £91.20. So now that we've found how much is left, the final question was, what is that as a percentage? Now, this is very easy when you think about it. So £160 is 100%. And we took away £68.80, which was 43%. So all you have to do is take 43 away from 100, and that will end up with 57%. And that is how much that is. Simple when you think about it. Thought I'd try and trip you up, but if you got that at home, fantastic thinking. So today's the last video for now that we will be doing on percentages. Now, we've already calculated percentages with basics and even more difficult ones, but there's one more topic I feel I need to go over with you. Now, as I said in the first video we did on percentages, the most common place we see them are where we go shopping and we see sale, 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 and they always have items reduced by certain percentages or even increased by some percentages as well. Let me give you an example. This shirt. I actually bought this shirt from Next, one of my favourite clothing stores. The original price of this shirt was £12, but it was on a deal. It was reduced by 25%. So how much was the shirt? How much did I spend on that shirt? Well, all we have to do is we figure out what 25% is and subtract that from 12 because it's reduced. So let's look at our basic percentages. 25% is a basic percentage, so that's all we have to do. How do we find 25%? Well, you halve your 12 and then you halve it again. So what's half of 12? It's 6. And what's half of 6? Because we're halving it again. It's 3. So all we have to do is, because it's being reduced, is we take away £3 from 12. And what's 12 take away 3? That will get us £9. And that is how much I spent on this shirt. But not only can things decrease by percentages, things could also increase by percentages. Let me give you an example. Last year in the summer, I went to see Ed Sheeran with a whole bunch of my friends in Ipswich.
Go home, I'm on my way, driving at 90 down the country lane, singing to Titus, and I miss the way you make.
It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. It's on the hottest days of the year as well, so I was knackered. I luckily bought my tickets just before the big price increase. I got my tickets for £180. There was a massive price increase after that. The price of the tickets went up by 60%. How much were they after the price increase? Luckily, I didn't get them at that stage. I got them quite cheap. Well, if you call £180 cheap. But so, how do we find out? So, what you do is you find 60% of 180. But 60% is not a basic percentage. So what do is we use our basic percentages to help us. The easiest way, in my opinion, is 60% is the same as 50% plus 10%. So let's find 50% of 180. What you do is you just halve it. What's half of 180? £90. And then how do we find 10%? Well, you divide 180 by 10. So 180 divided by 10 is £18. So all we have to do is we have to add 90 and then add 18 to that. So what's 180 add 90? Do your adding, you will get £270. But now we need to add that 10%. So what is £270 add £18? That will get us £288. And that is how much the tickets were after the big price increase. That's a bit of a jump, but it was worth it. But Ed Sheeran isn't my favourite artist. No, my favourite artists of all time are Coldplay. I've been a massive Coldplay fan for at least 8 years now. I love their music. I always listen to them. I always got them on my phone, on my playlists. I actually got to see Coldplay live with my mum about 5 years ago now at Wembley Stadium. It was absolutely incredible. I got to see them on a Thursday, and tickets to go and see them, they weren't cheap because it was one of the last dates of their final ever tour. Me and my mum both got 2 tickets. The total was £360 for Thursday's show. It was absolutely amazing. I'm glad we didn't see them on the Friday, I will admit, because on the Friday, ticket prices for them went up by 35%. I think it's because Fridays a lot more people are available. I don't know. How much were they after the prices went up? How much were they on the Friday? So we got to find 35%. There's 2 ways we could do this. We could do 10%, at 10%, at 10%, at 5%. Ugh, I'm getting bored even thinking about it. What about 50% minus 10% minus 5%? Could work. It's quicker. So, what is 50%? Well, that's 360 halved. 360 halved is £180. So I'll write that here. 180. Then we find 10%. Well, you divide 360 by 10. That will get us £36. And then 5%, you just halve 10%. So what's half of 36? £18. So it's 180 minus 36 minus 18. So what would that be? Well, 180 minus 36 is 144. Minus 18 becomes £126. And that's what we are adding on to 360, because it's increasing by 35%. So what is £126? What's £360 add £126? £486. I'm really glad we went on that Thursday. Although I wish me and my mum went on the Sunday. The reason why is because tickets were actually cheaper on that Sunday. How cheap, you say? Well, they were 12% cheaper on the Sunday. So now we have to decrease 360 by 12%. How could we find 12%? Well, we could do 10% plus 1% plus 1%. And that will get us 12, because 10 add 1 add 1 gets us 12. We know our 10% from the previous question. That is £36. 1%, you divide 360 by 100. That will get us £3.60. So 1% is £3.60. And then we're adding 1% again. Also £3.60. So now we're adding £36, add £3.60, add £3.60. That will get us 12%. So what's 36 add £3.60? That will be £39.60. Now what's £39.60 add £3.60? Well, that will be £43.20. And that is what we are decreasing from 360. We are subtracting that. So what is £360 minus £43.20? The answer, £316 Now, one of my favourite things I like to wear is I like wearing leather jackets. Not real leather, but I like wearing them because I like the feel of them, I like the style. This is one of my favourite leather jackets right here. I'm hanging up here we go. Now, this leather jacket, when I first saw it in the shop, was worth £48. I then went to check it out the next week when I got a bit more money, but the price had increased by 65%. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to buy that. That's way too much. I then went back the next week. I was just pure curiosity, and from that price, it decreased by 30%. And I said, you know what? I don't want it to go up again. I'm going to buy that jacket. How much was the jacket when I bought it? So it started at £48. It increased by 65%. Then that price decreased by 30%. And I bought it at that point. How much did I buy the jacket for? So that is your challenge for tonight. How much did I spend on this lovely piece of fabric over here? You have till tomorrow to work this out. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Put a like in the video if you enjoyed it. Comment below any topics you're not sure about, because I do need to get some lessons sorted. I'd love a challenge. So please share this video to anyone who needs it. Comment below of any topics you want me to cover. Put a like if you enjoyed it, if you found this topic helpful. And keep our children learning. Thank you. Good night.